or, because I know like people say, well, little kids are really expensive, but as they get older, like it's not as much, but they like what they have is more, the cost of it changes.
So wait, are we talking about expense? Remind me again. Just read the question again.
It's how has, as your kids have gotten older, how has a lot of that like expenses changed? Like,
Okay, yep.
does it get easier as they get more self-reliant, or, and I guess you could talk about emotionally too.
Right, right. So expense-wise, over time, is it easier now than it was then? Only in the sense that I can handle it better, juggle it better, maybe. I think it's a little bit easier to manage, like control, the control word, when they're younger. Because, yeah, you do have a little bit more parental control over certain things. And in terms, yeah, like eat that, just eat it. You know, when they're older, you can't say that. And when they're older, you know, their clothes cost more, significantly more. And when they're younger, you can go and just buy clothes for them and they don't put up too much of a fuss, you know, and you can go shop resale and it's extremely cost effective, you know, when you're buying clothes for $3 each, you know, and or garage sales. And again, you can do that without the kids and it all happens pretty easily versus now when I have teenagers, obviously I can't do that. And you know, they want their own clothes and their clothes are more expensive and, you know, they're still open to shopping resale and things like that, but it's a little harder to manage. Food-wise, you know, I'm not raising normal kids. I'm not. They're intensely creative and intelligent and demanding of my time and attention. And you know, and it's my passion as a parent to feed their creativity and their intellectual curiosity. And so when they want to try this or try that, or they want to do something in the kitchen, you know, I want to accommodate that. And sometimes it costs more than I want it to. And sometimes I have to draw the line. And so and they're pushier, you know, they have better game now than they used to. And so it's, it's more difficult in that sense to kind of like keep control of the budget. And then they're involved in things, you know, they get involved in sports a little bit more in school and theater and maybe summer programs, this and that. And trying to think what else. You know, part of the good thing about them being older is now that we're all pretty nearly the same height, we wear the same shoe size, we swap clothes, you know, so that's kind of nice for all of us. But yeah, that's a fun result of raising two daughters. So.
Has there been things that you've had to say no to, like maybe extracurricular activities, due to like maybe not even the financial burden, but the like you just physically couldn't make the schedule work?
Sure, there have been things that I've had to say no to. I can't think of specific examples right now, but definitely in terms of extracurricular activities, you know, that's like you can be involved in one right now, you know, outside of school or whatever, and I kind of have to draw the line at that. And, you know, other things that I've had to say no to over the years include, can we get a pet goat? You know, can we have a sheep farm on our 1/3 acre piece of land? Definitely things like that. And I mean, I've been campaigned hard for those things. So yeah, I've definitely had to draw the line at a lot of different animals, but I've also allowed different animals. So
yeah. I never asked for a sheep farm. I just say I want one.
Courtney wanted a
I
goat.
want a sheep.
Courtney wanted a goat.
Sheep. I don't want more than one sheep. I just want one.
Do you feel like there's a lot that you've had to sacrifice in order to kind of make everything work and just have this go as smoothly as possible for your children? Or?
Yeah, there's a lot to sacrifice. There's more to sacrifice, I think, than I anticipated. But you know, I think as a parent, and I felt like when I became a parent, I was very well prepared to be a parent. I was ready for it to be in my life. So it wasn't that type of thing. So the sacrifices that, because I felt prepared to be a parent, all those normal parental sacrifices were about what I expected. It's hard, you give up things for your kids, that's all fine and dandy. And those are sacrifices I was prepared to make and expected to make. And then there were the sacrifices that you end up making as a single parent that make it a little bit tougher. And so, there's just a lot of stress involved. And so you sacrifice a little bit of your flesh, I think, because of that. Wrinkles, gray hair, all that stuff. I feel like, although I'm very social and have an active social life, I've never had the kind of social life that I grew up in with my parents, where they had a couple's social life, and I really, really crave that. And that's been really difficult. And so, it's a lot of, hey, have coffee with your single friends or go over to your girlfriend's house or whatever, but it feels very disjointed. It doesn't feel like a regular support group, or if people get together on a weekly basis, or, once in a while, or all go camping together in the summer. I've never had that. And it's almost like the time poverty has made it very difficult to develop that. Other things that I've had to sacrifice are, there's a relationship that I was involved in that was a long distance one, and he's a very excellent parent for his kids, and I'm a very excellent parent for my kids. And because of that, and because of the custody agreements that we each have had, we couldn't be together, in any functional way as a pair, and would have very much liked to, have gotten married and had a family and combined families, but we tried every angle to think it through, and it just wasn't possible. So that was a huge sacrifice. So.
Can I ask you questions about your ex-husband?
Sure.
A few, anyway. What do you have, like, the most custody of them, or do you split? Is he very involved, or?
So our custody agreement is that, from a legal standpoint, I'm the primary physical custodian. He has parenting time. He has every other weekend with them, and also every Thursday. So his 1 day a week, and then his every other weekend. So on his weekends, he picks them up from school on Thursday and drops them back off at school on Monday. And then alternate weekends, he just has them on Thursdays. And then in the summer, we have 50-50. So during the school year, it's essentially he has them 10 days a month and I have them 20 days a month, and then it's half and half in the summertime. And you can ask anything. She's heard it before.
Oh, yeah.
What was that like for you in the beginning, adjusting to that, or did you ever want more time alone to kind of deal with your own transition, or did you, like, was that hard, like, relinquishing those 10 days and then, like, kind of that whole adjustment?
Yeah, it was hard adjusting to the schedule in the beginning, the parenting schedule. From definitely, being that I was mainly the stay-at-home mom when we were married, and even when he was not at work, I was the primary caregiver for the kids. I mean, he was not a very involved parent. And so, it was difficult for me to give up that time to somebody who, it was just difficult to give it up, period. And then, and it was maybe somewhat difficult to accept that, this person who really hadn't put any proactive effort into being a parent was now being, basically, it felt like he was being gifted with time that he hadn't earned. And that was difficult. Yeah.
Does he take a very active role outside of his custody, his given time, for school events and things like that? Or is it mostly you're kind of the cheerleader, the coach, the counselor, the everything?
Yeah.
For your kids?
My ex, as far as his involvement as a parent, is that during his parenting time, he's never shirked his parenting time. So he's always picked them up. With very few exceptions where he's picked them up and then taken them to somebody else for the weekend or whatever. But he's always claimed his parenting time. And but as far as involvements in extracurricular activities and being a proactive parent, presenting opportunities to the kids, getting involved in what they're involved in, he has not done any of that. He's not a proactive parent. He's not. He's an at-home provider.
What does your time with your children primarily look like on a weekly basis?
See how my hair's sticking up? See? So my time at home with my daughters is usually pretty loud. So not always by choice, because I like things quiet. But it's very busy and very active. So whether it's, it just seems like from the time I pick them up from school, it's very conversational. We are a very conversational household in general. So from the time we get home from school or picking them up, I'm asking them questions about homework or, what they've got going on at school or their friends, or they're telling me something or reporting. We start the conversation there, and then, and then keeping them on track with maybe responsibilities that they have in or outside of school. Yeah, what time is it?
Almost 3.
Okay, yeah, we got to get going soon. We pick up CJ by 3:10, so. So we have a busy schedule. Anyways, so what it looks like when I'm with the girls, it's crazy. I'm raising teenage daughters, and again, they are creative, they're fun, they're very cool people. They're very cool. I love hanging out with them. Of all the people I know, I want to hang out with them. And sometimes I want to get away from them, yes, but I really like my girls. And so sometimes it's fun just to observe them, I didn't get to grow up with sisters. And I was surrounded by boys growing up, boy neighbors, boy cousins. I was the only girl on both sides. So I never had any really good sense of what it was like to be a sister until I got to see it through them. So that's been really cool. And so sisters fight like cats, and then they love each other. So they call each other horrible, horrible names. And then the next thing I know, they're in bed with each other, laughing over stuff. So, they're mental. They're just crazy. They're fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and you walking into something that you had no idea what was going on really, or what would be expected of you. It's really cool to hear your story, because I had no idea. I watched you for weeks dance and
Right.
stuff, and I didn't really know anything about you, so this is really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That one especially.
Right.
Yes.
The what?
Yes.